We put this video on enthusiast skill level. Preparation took about 90 minutes and application was 2.5 hours. We spent very little money on this look, and if you want to know more about zombie prosthetics, then check out our ultimate zombie ethics and makeup tutorial. And we start off with preparations using Ellimorph Plastic. We're going to make teeth and a little bone piece for a fake toe prop. If you haven't used Ellimorph before, it's little plastic beads that melts in hot water and then it turns into this plastic clay that you can shape into whatever. I'm grabbing a pretty big chunk and rolling it into a sausage with a little bump on top, because that's what I think a toe bone looks like. The sharp part is going to pierce that toe later that we're doing. Next up is little teeth. We need quite a few, and what I like to do is rolling another sausage, flattening it out against the table, and then after a couple seconds I let it harden, and then I cut out little teeth pieces. And I just cut and cut and cut and cut, and then I choose the pieces that I think look the best or look the right size. We need about 12 teeth, so 6 up, 6 low. Back to the toe, we are using this DIY scar wax method. I'm mixing Vaseline with flour, and I'm adding quite a lot of flour as I want it to be dry and not soft. So just add more flour as you go, and then when the density is to your liking, you are done. And another sausage. Just rip out a chunk that is the size of a big toe. And now you want to grab your little bone and push it into the toe. Next up, we need a toenail, and I had this laying around in one of my drawers. It's pretty, it's got some manicure or pedicure like me, so thought it would fit. You can make one out of Ellimorph if you don't have one. Moving on to some paint job, I'm using water-based paint, and this is light beige, a little light green, and some purple, and I just do light washes all over it until I'm happy. Yay! Time for prosthetics. You guessed it, we are using DIY latex paste, mixing liquid latex with flour. This is what we're going to make the prosthetics out of. If you're new to this technique, then check out our ultimate guide to latex paste. We start with the mouthpiece, and make sure the upper and lower part aren't connected because you want to be able to open and close your mouth. Push the teeth in place when you're happy with your gum. And you can smooth after, but make sure you don't get any latex on your teeth. Some of the skull is exposed on this monster, so we want this piece to be fairly smooth as its skull. So remember to always have liquid latex and not paste on your fingers when you shape, then the paste will stick to your fingers and it will be a lot easier. Same goes for your tools. Cover them in some liquid latex and everything will be a lot easier to shape. Next part is pretty straightforward. This is going to be the skin. Here we want some more texture. I am using a brush to shape this. You can do so too, but remember that the latex won't come off the brush, so if you use a brush that you like, you're not going to be happy because you're going to have to throw it out. And other side too, I'm making sure that I have a pretty thick edge around the eyes because I want the holes for the eyes to be very deep. This monster doesn't have any eyes, there's just holes. And I'm just doing light brush strokes for the edges because I want a lot of texture on this. When I'm happy with this shape, I'm going to throw this one into the microwave for 10 seconds and then it's going to be all cured right away. If you don't want to do that, you can just leave it overnight and it will dry and then you do the next piece. The reason for me not doing the other piece on top of this is because I want it to be different pieces so that I can move my face more easily and that I can move my teeth even though the lip part is kind of like stuck to my face. So we're doing the lips right now. I'm leaving quite a big hole and then I am trying to shape weird looking lips for my monster. And there we have it. It is application time. First thing you gotta do is Vaseline your eyebrows really good if you want to keep them. Don't forget the hairline. Next up, we slap on a ball cap. You will never feel hotter than wearing this rubber hat. Just look at that. So very pretty. I'm using a very cheap, ugly looking ball cap because I don't need it to look pretty. We're gonna cover the edges anyway. But I do want it to stick to my face, so I use some liquid latex to get the edges around my ears to stick to my cheeks. Before we get the prosthetic on, I want to cover my eyes in black, and I'm using watercolors. I used a bit too much water, so I had to do layers of this color. You can use some cream color too. I just wanted to stick with watercolors because they come off easily. And let it dry with a hairdryer and it will go faster. Next up is the prosthetics. I want to apply them using liquid latex. You can use Prozade or anything else if your skin doesn't like to be covered in liquid latex, but it works for me. So I just cover all the parts of my face that the prosthetic is going to cover, and I push it against my face and try to make sure that all of the edges and sides are stuck to my face. And also, as you could see before, I didn't cover my brows, so even if you have Vaseline, try not to cover your brows in liquid latex just to be safe. Pushing down the edges like so. If you have big edges, as you can see later in this video, you can cover them with some tissue paper and latex too. So a couple of layers of latex around the edges will make it look perfect. If you have a hairdryer, this will make it all dry a lot faster. Next up is the lips, and I'm using a black color to cover my lips too. You can do this after, it'll just be a bit harder to get behind the teeth. And I'm filling in some pieces that I forgot about. Adding the lower part, same goes for this. I add some liquid latex to my chin, and then I just push the prosthetic against my skin. Nice. I'm going to start off with doing the paint job for the teeth. So I'm using cream colors. This is a yellow shade, as you can see. This monster has been in the ground for quite some time, so I don't want any white teeth on this character because I don't think it will suit it. Next up is a brown tone. I'm using this around the gum that's closest to the teeth and between my teeth. As I hope you know, October is around the corner, which means loads of filmings around the corner, which means Halloween's around the corner, and that means that my 25th birthday is around the corner. So for today's Swedish lesson, I wish it was October now. In Swedish, jag önskar att det var oktober nu. Next up is a moss green that I use to tie it all together. I add some of it on the teeth, some of it just on the lower part, a little bit here and there, just so it covers all the parts that's going to be underneath the next piece that we're gonna put on. And as you can see, when I apply this with some more liquid latex, after it's on, I can still move the teeth, and I still have this little bit of movement in the face of the zombie, which is something that we like. Like I said before, I want to cover the edges, and I also want to add some more texture to my skin, which is very smooth. So I'm using liquid latex and tissue paper to create this texture. This works really well if you want to do a zombie skin and you don't want to do a prosthetic. You can just cover your face in this, and I'm going to show you this technique on my neck where I don't have prosthetics, but I still want to have the same texture going on. So here I go over and over with latex, tissue paper, and I dry it with a hairdryer, and then I rip it up and I go over again. Latex, tissue paper, let it dry, rip it up, and repeat. And this is going to create a really cool texture to the skin, and you're gonna get holes. It's gonna look great. The hairdryer is a great tool for this. It makes it all dry a lot faster. And now I'm ripping it up, as you can see. This makes really, really cool texture. And again until I'm happy with the end result. And I am now, so we move on to the paint job. And I'm using the same colors that I used for the toe. It's water-based colors, and it's a light beige and a light green that I mix and go all over everything. And by everything, your double chin is included. Pop it out there, looking pretty. I'm done with the green shade, and I need to color this exposed skull too, so I'm using a light beige and some white just to make this pop a little bit, and we're gonna add some more brown later to add dimension to this. This video talent shout out goes to set_k_Kamar, a self-taught artist that has a inspiring feed. I want you to go check him out, show some love, and tell him we said hi. So with a brown tone, I will add some more dimension to the cracks and shade the edges of this ripped flesh on the sides. This will make it all look a bit deeper and cooler. To give the paint job and skin some more dimension and texture, I spray a light layer of brown body spray to shade, and then I push it halfway down, and this gives little speckles in different sizes. This does wonders and is a technique that I use very often to do a cool paint job on monsters. I'm adding more brown to shade the edges of the eyes too. I will also go back in with some black just to add some more depth and cover the pieces that got some brown shade on it that I want to have black. So it's starting to look good, and we're gonna move on to the lips that still needs a little bit of color. I'm using alcohol activated paints. I like using this as you can do really light washes. You can do fairly the same technique with some water paints if you don't have this kind of paint, but it's really cool and you should try if you have the opportunity to, because it's a cool product to work with. I'm adding a little bit of brown and green and red, and I'm just covering a little piece of my face too in this because I want the color to match. So this color kind of just gives a little wash over the other colors, so I don't really cover any of my other paint job. It just gives a light wash, and that's what's so cool with this product. We are getting closer to the end, and this baby needs some hair, so I'm using double-sided tape because I want this wig to be quite far back on my head, and it wouldn't fit or stick to my head that far back if I didn't have tape, so that's why we have tape. Give it a little haircut. You don't want pretty hair on this look, so I'm just cutting off random pieces of hair, and whatever I had left I will stick to the top of my head just to have some little ewy looking pieces of hair coming out. We're adding some lacquer, making sure I don't put any of this product on my actual skin or lips, but this will just add some shine to the lips and teeth. This is starting to look really pretty, and we're kind of done with the look. I really hope you like this toe monster. If you have more requests, just pop them in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.